Inside these walls, the gang rules, not the government. Prisons are supposed to be institutions of confinement, rehabilitation, and justice. They are designed to protect society by removing its most dangerous elements and preventing them from causing further harm. But in El Salvador, a tragic and complex inversion of this purpose has taken root. Here, the country's most violent gangs, Mara Salvatrucha, known worldwide as MS-13 and Barrio 18, have not only survived incarceration but have established complete dominion over the prison system. These gangs control entire prison blocks, operating brutal mini-states where they enforce their own rules, run illegal economies, and mete out punishment far beyond the reach of official authorities. This is a story of how prisons meant to contain violent gangs became sprawling hubs of organized crime and terror. To understand this chilling reality, we must first examine the socio-political landscape that allowed it to flourish. El Salvador is a small Central American nation, yet it consistently ranks among the most violent countries on Earth, plagued by gang-related violence that permeates daily life. Over the past several decades, two criminal syndicates, MS-13 and Barrio 18, have grown into powerful transnational gangs known for their ruthlessness, territorial control, and extensive criminal enterprises ranging from drug trafficking to extortion and murder. In response to rampant violence, successive Salvadoran governments adopted a policy known as mano dura, or iron fist, aimed at cracking down hard on gang activity. This strategy involved mass arrests, longer prison sentences, and militarized policing, with the goal of incapacitating gangs through incarceration. But these policies had unintended and devastating consequences. The prison population soared to unprecedented levels, far exceeding the capacity of the country's facilities. Overcrowding became catastrophic. Many prisons operate at 3 to 4 times their designed capacity. The system was overwhelmed. Guard numbers did not keep pace with the swelling inmate population. Budgets remained constrained, and corruption within the prison workforce became rampant. These systemic weaknesses created the perfect storm. Overwhelmed guards struggled to maintain control, and gangs exploited the power vacuum to consolidate and expand their influence within the prisons. Inside the prisons, MS-13 and Barrio 18 divided the territory like rival kingdoms, taking complete control over entire wings and blocks. These gangs effectively carved out autonomous zones, each with its own hierarchy, laws, and enforcement mechanisms. Inmates had to pledge loyalty to one of the gangs, and failure to do so could mean violent retribution or death. The prison guards, often outnumbered and fearing for their lives, became largely ineffective in maintaining order. Some became passive observers, while others are believed to have been complicit, accepting bribes or cooperating with gang leadership to ensure their own safety. Within these self-governed enclaves, gang leadership enforces a brutal code of conduct. Discipline is harsh and swift. Inmate courts or councils convene to adjudicate disputes and dispense punishments ranging from beatings to executions. Public displays of violence, including killings, serve both as enforcement tools and chilling warnings to maintain discipline. Contraband is rife inside the prison walls, fueling and sustaining the gang's power. Smuggled cell phones are the most vital tools for gang leadership. They allow imprisoned bosses to maintain direct lines of communication with their street operatives, coordinate illicit activities, and issue orders for assassinations, kidnappings, and extortion. Through these devices, prison cells become nerve centers, effectively clandestine command posts for ongoing criminal enterprises. Weapons, drugs, and money are regularly smuggled into the prisons despite government efforts to curb this flow. Secret tunnels, corrupt officials, and sophisticated smuggling networks facilitate the movement of contraband. Inmates often pay protection fees or taxes to gang bosses who control access to goods and privileges. This extortion creates a shadow economy within the prison walls, reinforcing the gang's grip on power and generating significant revenue. The dual control exercised by the gangs inside the prisons and out on the streets blurs the lines between incarceration and freedom. Gang leaders behind bars maintain authority over vast criminal networks. Using phones and corrupt intermediaries, they orchestrate drug trafficking, extortion rackets, and violent enforcement on the streets. Within the prisons, they oversee their internal justice systems, passing judgment on inmates who break gang rules. This parallel legal framework operates without oversight, often dispensing brutal punishments to enforce loyalty and control. The Salvadoran government has repeatedly attempted to break the gang's stranglehold on the prison system. Strategies have included mass prisoner transfers designed to disrupt gang hierarchies, lockdowns aimed at isolating gang leaders, and intensified searches to confiscate contraband. However, these measures often trigger violent backlash. Prison riots and massacres have erupted in response to crackdowns, resulting in dozens or even hundreds of deaths. Moreover, gang leadership adapts swiftly. They rebuild disrupted networks, corrupt officials, and find new ways to maintain control. The prison system remains a volatile battleground. Though authorities continue to fight for control, gangs retain deep and entrenched power within the institutions. The impact of this shadow prison state extends far beyond prison walls. Families of inmates live under constant threat of extortion, intimidation, and violence. Communities outside the prisons suffer as gangs leverage their power to maintain dominance, often through terror tactics. The justice system itself is compromised. Witnesses and victims frequently live in fear, unwilling to cooperate. Corruption and intimidation undermine legal processes, perpetuating a cycle of impunity. El Salvador's prisons were meant to isolate and contain the country's most dangerous criminals. Instead, they became sprawling criminal headquarters, fueling ongoing violence and instability. Breaking this grip requires more than brute force and harsh policies. It demands comprehensive reform, significant investment in prison infrastructure and staffing, anti-corruption measures, and social programs addressing the root causes of gang membership. This is a complex and ongoing struggle in one of the world's most challenging environments. This is the story of how a nation's prisons became the very heart of gang power. A stark reminder that the battle against organized crime must be fought on many fronts, inside and outside the walls. If you found this exploration enlightening, subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden realities shaping our world.